Okay, so I thought what I'd do is I'd just go through a normal transaction cycle. So we're going to probably buy some stuff, sell that, and then we'll pay the bills and maybe pay for an expense, something like that. Alright, so under purchases, because we have to purchase something before we can sell it, obviously, let's go in and, okay, enter a purchase. Okay, so we want to buy something. So if we want to buy something, we go into enter purchases. Okay, and it comes up with a screen like this called purchases. Now, this is designed to look like, I guess, a card file or a paper invoice, just to make it easier for people coming from the the old style of accounting or bookkeeping. You notice up here you can do quotes or orders or receive items or bills. Now for the moment we're just going to say this is a confirmed order, which is a bill, so we'll just leave it as that. We can have the prices tax inclusive or exclusive depending upon how you like to work. Just be aware that if the tax inclusive button is ticked, it's going to the price you put in is going to include the 10% GST. So in suppliers, we click on this drop down and it shows us all the suppliers that have been set up. Now in this case there are some suppliers already set up. Now if this was a new company file and we're starting from scratch, we would have to set up these accounts ourselves, and I may briefly show that in this video or might just do it in the next video depending upon time. So let's just say we want to buy something from MYOB Imports. Okay, now we already owe them some money. It says we owe them 10,000, but that's okay. We'll just use this supplier because they're obviously a good supplier. This is basically telling us we've actually got a quote in the system from these guys, and do we want to use this to purchase our information? We're just going to say no. Okay, we want to create a brand new order, nothing relating to that quote. Now you notice here we have 45 days credit. It's automatically generated a purchase order number here, and it's put in today's date. Okay, so that's perfect. Now let's say we want to order 50 of an item, and the item we want to order, I'm not sure yet, but let's just click on the items numbers here and it'll give us a listing of all our items that we can purchase. Here we go. So in this case, let's order 50 football caps. Okay, click use. Let's say we purchase these caps for $10 including GST. It'll automatically do a calculation saying the total is $500, and again the total is $500. We can put in comments down here if we like. We can say we'll pick that up ASAP, and we'll say we're going to pick it up. Okay, because we don't want to pay for freight. Just be aware, yes, the tax code here is GST. We can change that if we want, but that's how we want it at the moment. So once we're happy with that order, we click record, and we can click cancel now that that's been done. Now if we want to check if that order's gone into the system, some people were asking, oh, it's disappeared, how do we know that it's gone through? We can go into purchase register, and as long as all purchases is ticked, all suppliers is selected, and the date is valid, okay, or the date range, you'll see here that we've put in an order on this date with this purchase order number to this supplier for the amount of this much. Okay, and it's saying that it's open, which means it hasn't been paid, so it's still pending. So that's good. So we click close. Now that we've bought the equipment and they've arrived, we can now do a sale. So we go into sales, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory. We click on enter sales. Again, this is a confirmed order, so it's an invoice. Okay, we're not doing a quote or an order, we're doing an invoice. Again, like supplier, we can choose the customer from the drop down, and we're going to sell to let's sell to Macho Menswear because they seem to be a good customer. However, you'll notice that they owe us $21,000. We will probably have to follow that up because that's a fair bit of money outstanding. So in any case, we'll do the order with them first. Click use customer. Again, we've got 30 days, or they've got 30 days terms with us. This is the date the order is placed or the invoice is placed, and our invoice number. Again, tax inclusive is ticked. Okay, now we're going to sell those 50 items. What did we buy? We bought football caps. You'll notice now that we've got 50 in stock. Before we had 0. Click use. Now, I think it's ridiculous that we're selling these caps for $121. Let's sell them for 25. We bought them for 10, so that's still good profit. GST is the tax code. That's good, and we can put in additional information such as salesperson and so on. So in this case, I'm going to choose this person. We can put in a comment. We can say we appreciate your business, and in this case, we give free shipping and we send it via Australia Post. We're not going to charge for freight because that's a deal we've got with this customer. And again, it's done a calculation: 25 by 50 equals this amount, and the balance due. Click record. Now, because we've actually got, you'll notice we had less terms, or credit terms with our customer. We gave them 30 days and we had 45 days with our supplier. If they're a good customer, we would have been paid by them before we have to pay our bill. So let's go into receive payments, because what we're going to do now is we're going to receive money from our customer that is related to a sale. So if that's what we're doing, if we're receiving money from a customer that's directly related to a sale that we've entered into our system, we go to receive payments. Okay, now there's a few options here. We can either deposit the money into sort of a holding account. For example, this is probably only useful for maybe checks. If we get sent a check, we might want to pre-enter the order, deposit the money into an account called undeposited funds, and then only when the check clears we can receive the money. But in this case, we won't worry about that. We're going to deposit directly into the account. The account is our corporate state bank. Okay. If we click on this, you will notice we'll have other different accounts here, but the corporate bank account is fine. Okay. We've got a balance in that account of $25,000, and we choose the customer here that we're going to receive the money from. So click on this drop down, and I was telling you before that MYOB menswear owes a fair bit of money, so we're going to receive not a check but an EFT. We've checked our bank account and there's money sitting there from them. Click use customer. Make sure the date is correct. That's probably the most important thing. And how much money are we going to receive? Well, let's say, even though we've done an order for, say, for $1,250, let's receive this this previous order for $15,400. So they've paid us $15,400. The payment method was FPOS. Click use. Okay, and all we need to do is click on the amount here that we're applying. Click there, and it automatically applies the maximum amount of money it can to this order based on the money received here. So one last thing to check is the total applied does match the total received and that there's nothing out of balance. If that's correct, click record. You notice now that our bank account has gone up to $40,000. That means the money's been received. We can click cancel. So now that we've done that, we will go and pay for our purchase. Okay. So if we're paying for a purchase, it's under the purchase area tab. Click on that, and we're going to pay a bill based on a purchase we've entered. Click pay bill. Again, the screen is exactly the same as it was with the receiving of money. Okay. So we're going to pay from our corporate bank account with this balance. The supplier we're paying, click on the drop down. We're going to pay MYOB. Click use supplier, and you'll notice here it shows us all the invoices that are outstanding that we owe this customer, okay, or the supplier. Now the check number is automatically generated. Let's just say we're paying by FPOS, so usually you just click here and type FPOS. Again, make sure the date is correct, okay, and how much we're going to pay. Now we're going to pay them $3,850 to get that old order that's outstanding out of the way. Okay, and again we click here, and it applies the amount from the payment to this particular order. And if we click here, you'll notice it's not applying anything else because there's no money outstanding or left over from that applied amount. Again, just check the total applied matches the total paid and that there's nothing outstanding. As long as that's all okay, click record, and you'll notice that now the balance for this account has dropped a little bit. That's good. Click cancel. Okay, so that's good. That's almost a complete transaction. We've bought some equipment, we've sold the equipment, we've received money from our customer, and then we've paid a bill. One last thing we may want to do is we may want to pay for an expense, something that's not related to a sale or a purchase. Okay, so we go into the banking tab, and you'll notice here that there is spend money. Okay, because that's what we're doing, we're spending money. Click on spend money. Okay, and looks very similar to what we've done in the past. Okay, but we do this a little bit differently. So we're going to pay from our corporate bank account. The amount that we're going to pay is including GST. Make sure that the date is correct, and if we're paying by check, just make sure the check number matches the check in your checkbook. In this case, we're going to pay by FPOS. Just type that there. Okay. Now, in this case, we don't have a card set up for this supplier, okay, or for this company that we're paying. It's just say a utility. So in that case, we're going to just click on the payee option, and we're going to type in AGL Energy. Okay. Okay. The memo is important. The payee in the memo is what's going to just show up on the transaction journal. So in this case, let's just type in something that makes it meaningful. So we'll type in AGL gas bill, or gas and electricity bill. Okay. This is probably the most important part. Now, the account we're going to link this payment to, okay, will be an expense account, and we need to make sure that that expense account sort of maps, at least, if not exactly, very closely to the type of expense that this is. Now, something I did notice, I haven't actually put an amount in, so just put the amount in first. So let's put in, say this bill is $150, okay, and that's a $150 bill going to AGL Energy. Okay, click on this account drop-down box. And because we're spending money, MYOB is smart enough to realize that this is going to be an expense, and there's a whole bunch of expense accounts listed here. Now, we just need to find something that's sort of roughly right. There's rent, there's telephone, it's none of those. It's not travel. So I think I did see electricity somewhere. Here, okay. So choose electricity, okay, and this is the expense account. So anything that we are paying for an electricity bill or similar, we should map to this electricity expense account. So at the end of the month or end of the year, financial year, when we run reports and we want to get an accurate representation of where we've spent our money for expenses, it will actually be accurate. We don't want to apply a gas bill under the telephone expense, because it won't be an accurate representation of where our expenses have been or where we've been spending our money. So let's choose electricity and click use account. And what it's going to do is it's going to apply the $150 from this bill to the electricity expense account. And remember, this is including GST because we've ticked it up here. As long as there's nothing out of balance, that's okay, and click record. We can close that window now. Now, if we go into bank register, this will show us all the transactions that have taken place relating to our bank account. So it should also show us our sales and our purchases, as well as our spend money. So go into bank register. Okay, and this is exactly what we should see. So you'll notice we did an FPOS payment, okay, to our supplier. So it's withdrawing this amount of money from our bank account. Okay, then we did another withdrawal from our bank account for $150 to pay our AGL energy bill. And then we received a payment from Macho Menswear for $15,000, which was a deposit into our bank account. Okay, so that looks like everything's perfect. We click cancel, and I hope that sort of explained at least the basics of setting up a company file, showing you where to go for preferences, how to set up user accounts, the basics of purchases, entering purchases, using the purchase register, paying bills, and the same with the sales, using the sales register, how to enter a sale and receive payments, and then how to do ad hoc spends of money and to check the bank register for all banking transactions. Alright, so I hope this has helped out. If you've got any questions, please send me an email. And that's even to the other classes, the tutorials that I do not handle. I'm happy to help out. I'm happy for you guys to watch this video. So have a good weekend, and look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you.